Well, welcome everyone to Love vs. Hate. My name is Anne, and I'm your old-fashioned nerd.
And I'm Emily, your mainstream millennial.
And on this podcast, Emily and I like to debate and argue about all the things in life that we love and hate.
Oh my gosh, Anne, a huge crane just flew right past your head. I got distracted. But yes, we always like to find some common ground. We'll see if that happens today. I feel like it might.
It might, because we're talking about thrifting.
Ooh, I love thrifting.
Which is totally, I feel like there's no stereotype to thrifting. Everyone can do it. Everyone can love it. And it's not just a nerd or a millennial or a hipster thing. Like, it's for everybody because it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. I feel like maybe 10 years ago there was a stereotype, but I feel like now it's like a cool thing to do.
Right. Everybody, it's good for a lot of reasons too. Like, you get better deals on stuff. You find really unique items. You also are saving the planet because you're reusing things and things aren't just getting thrown away. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many benefits to thrifting.
Yes, I love it. Reduce, reuse, recycle, everyone.
Yes. Exactly.
And so we wanted to talk about any stories that we have about the thrift store, any thrifting tips that we've learned along the way, just anything.
Right.
And we also are going to have a extra behind the scenes video going up on our YouTube channel where Anne and I go thrifting and we take you behind the scenes.
And we can show you the different things that stand out to us in a thrift store, because the things I like, Emily didn't, and vice versa.
Yeah, you should have seen the first thing Anne picked up at one of the stores.
Oh my gosh, it was hideous.
It was crazy. Yeah, you never know what you're going to expect.
That's what's so fun. That's why I love thrifting, is because you just don't know what you're going to find. I went to a thrift store with Emily, actually, and I was, you don't know what you want until you get there and you look at what's there and available. You don't go in with an agenda usually. I mean, sometimes you're like, okay, I'm looking for furniture. You might be looking for something specific, but even that, you will
never know for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were just kind of perusing around, and I saw this really cute chest. It definitely wasn't an old chest. It was, something probably that was from a Hobby Lobby or something, but it was cheap and it was really cute and I loved it, and I'm going to put it in my D&D room someday. And actually, I'm using it right now to hold a lot of my D&D things. So yeah, it's on my bookshelf. It looks really cool. I love it. And it was $5 and it just made me so happy.
Yes. Okay, I totally forgot about that chest that you bought. I was
huh? I was like, oh my gosh, Emily, look, there's a chest. And I was like, I'm getting it. Yeah. There was no questioning.
I love to buy my books from the thrift store because who has the money to buy a $25 book from a bookstore?
I know, they are kind of expensive.
No. I'll buy it for $2 and that is good for me.
Or get it at the library for free and then return it.
I love the library.
I also, though, thrifting for me has a deep root in my heart because my grandma is the Antiques Roadshow or the American Pickers. That was the specific one I was thinking of. She is 100% an American picker. For her whole life, she's been a collector. She knows how to find good deals. Everyone around town, she lives in a small town in Wisconsin, and everybody knows her, and everyone, they literally will call her, people will call her and be like, hey, we're going to have an estate sale tomorrow, but do you want to come and get a first peek look at this stuff?
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And she's gone to churches, and she has stained glass church windows, and she's got in her cabin. And that's the other thing, that she has 2 houses with all this stuff. She used to have school buses full of stuff. She's downsized a little bit. Good for her. But she's got barns and sheds. She literally has just so much stuff, and it's all amazing and cool.
That would be so fun to look at.
I should take you sometime. She would love you. Yeah. She loves people. She loves to talk to people. That's the other thing too, is when she's thrifting, she's meeting all these really unique people and learning about them, and she talks to them. She just loves to meet people and hear about, how they came by things. So she has always a story to tell, and she's just amazing. And I just love getting every time I go, I'm like, Grandma, what's the coolest thing you found lately? And she's like, oh, I got this. And she's just got this unique stuff. And it's just really, really cool. And her house is totally decorated out. You would totally love her.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we're going to have to plan a trip to go and see your grandma.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, cool. But yeah, my dad has recently, like over the past year or so, been getting into auctions. Oh man, he is like the auction person now. He's like, every weekend, I'm like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? He's like, going to an auction. I'm like, I don't even know why I ask anymore. And he takes a lot of time at auctions because he has to drive there. It's usually like 30 minutes to an hour away. And then he spends all day there because auctions take a while. And he has to drive back. But it's always so exciting to like go back to my parents' house and I'll be like, so what'd you get at auctions recently? And he'll be like, come out here. And he like goes to the garage and he's like, I got this. I got that. I got you this. And I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, actually at one of the auctions, like I've always gone to auctions with my dad, but I'd never bid on anything just because it was kind of like intimidating. Like everybody there is like older. They all know what they're doing. They got their numbers ready. And the auctioneer's like, but then once I got it figured out, I was like, you know what I want? Funny that Ian told everyone that she just got a chest. I wanted a chest, but I wanted a cedar chest, you know, the ones that like sit in front of your bed.
Yeah,
and it's all
really
cute.
nice ones.
I wanted one of those, and I found one because they have the websites that show you some of the stuff before. So I'm like, I'm going to this one with you, and I got myself a cedar chest.
Was it
needs
fun
some work
to like bid on it?
Yeah, this one girl, she really wanted it too. And I was like, It was back and forth, but I finally got it. I maybe paid a little bit more than I probably should have, but it was my first one. I learned. But now I just have to like work, give it some love, because it's like this disgusting carpet on the top. So I have to like rip that off and put a new like topper on.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part about it too, is like you can like find something old and you can reimagine it to like be used in a new way, which is something that I've really been getting into as well. We've talked about YouTubers in a previous episode, and one of the like categories on YouTube that I've been watching recently is like thrift flipping and like going to the thrift store and seeing what people buy and how they like
repurpose it.
Yeah, it's so interesting and fun to me, and like I just want to do that now.
I know. Well, and for me the thrill is like you just don't know what you're gonna find. Like my grandma has just some of the craziest stuff that I'm like, where do you even find this? Like, I didn't know such a thing existed. Or I also love the history too. Like she finds a lot of really cool items. And, you know, obviously she's older. So like she'll tell me stories about like, oh, when I was a little girl, like they had these things. And it's like, it's just really interesting. There's so much history to connect you there. But I also like, and my grandma's been making a living doing this her entire life. Like she, you know, my grandpa worked and she stayed at home with the kids, but she also has just been a thrifter her whole life. And like she sells stuff. And so she always knows like what's in trend. Like back when typewriters were a huge trend, she was buying typewriters like left and right and selling them and making good profit. And like,
what the heck? I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, she always knows. And apparently like there was a time too where like window shutters were just huge and everybody wanted window shutters because they were using them to decorate, you know, and like they were painting them and they would put them on walls because they have like nice texture. And so she was just buying window shutters and again like selling them. And so there's definitely a huge market for that like flipping and for that renovating.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that out once Alex and I are in our house and we have more space to put crap that we buy.
It's not crap, Emily. It's
stuff to be reimagined.
It's treasures.
Yeah, there we go. It's treasure.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, that's like amazing to like just think of something that has no purpose for somebody and that's why they donated or got rid of it and then like turn it into something new that like somebody else would love or you would love. That's amazing.
Yeah, my grandma her supply has gone down, granted, over the years, but she used to have just an insane amount of old like crates that they used to like put, you know, like glass soda bottles and like different like containers that they would use for like shipping and stuff, but they were wood crates, and obviously they, you know, they use cardboard and other stuff now, but she used to just have piles and piles and piles of these, and they always like, even to this day, they still sell really well.
Yeah
you
go to like the craft store and they're like $25
like, for
wood.
I know it's crazy, but I'm just really fortunate because I've been able to snag a few, myself over the years. But they're really fun to like make into kind of like a unique little bookshelf because you can lay them horizontally, you can lay them vertically, you can put little knickknacks in them, and like they just make really nice pieces.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of my like home decor is like thrifted or flipped. So like a lot of times I'll always go to the vases and just see like, obviously like a lot of the vases are like just clear or they're like a weird color. But if I just look at the shape of them, and if I like the shape, I'll buy it, and then I'll like spray paint it whatever color.
Yeah,
because like I have like white, and a lot of times there's like the terracotta color that you can do. So that's one of my tips. And then baskets. I just got a basket. You'll see it in the behind the scenes video if you watch. It's so cute. Like you can put a little plant in it, or like you can hide stuff in it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of tips, this is something, I mean, when you go like to a thrift store, you don't really have this option, but if you're rummage sailing or if you're at estate sales, a huge tip, you can always bargain the price, like guaranteed. Like you might think, and sometimes people are kind of hard, like, no, I do want to sell it for that price. And that's okay. But like my grandma, that's the number one thing she always teaches me. She's like, always bargain up. Like you can get really good deals. Because people like, sometimes you'll say like, oh, like, are you sure you want to sell this for $10? Like, I'll pay for $5. And they're like, okay. Like a lot of times they don't even question it. They want to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And so she's always like wheeling and dealing, and she gets stuff for free. I don't know. These people, they're just like, yep, woman, you want to take this? Here you go. It's free.
Well, does she like buy something and then she's like, then she gets something for free, or they're just like, here, have this?
It kind of just depends a lot of the time. And a lot of the time she just picks stuff up even curbside. The stuff she finds curbside, I'm like, people are throwing this away? What? And you found it? What?
Oh my gosh.
Like she just finds crazy stuff. We'll have to, you know what we should do? We should bring her on the podcast.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
You guys, okay, would you want a thrift expert on the podcast? Because I'm
oh my gosh, she could totally come on as an expert.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Yeah. My other tip for you when you're going to thrift stores, well, this is more of a tip for after you've gone to the thrift store. Make sure to just like hand sanitize yourself, because you don't know what's in there. Like you don't know what's clean and what's not clean. And also if you get like clothes or anything, really, just like make sure to wash it or wipe it down.
Yeah,
just like be safe, be cautious.
That's the cleaning expert over there.
Yeah.
So what are like some go-tos, Emily, when you're like either at a rummage sale, or like what are some things you're almost always looking for, and if you find it you're like always excited?
I always look at books.
Books is a good one.
I always like to look at the home decor. And then I like to look at furniture, but I don't think I've ever actually bought any furniture from a thrift store or a garage sale or anything like that. But it's just still fun to see, like, sometimes maybe there's like a hidden gem, but normally I'm like, I don't have a car big enough to hold this.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we did buy a chair for our office one time at
Goodwill. We did. Yeah.
It was $8.
Yeah. And it was a very comfortable chair.
Yeah. It had a little bit of calf scratches on it, but it did the job.
It did the job. And every time somebody sat in there like, wow, this is really comfy, we're like, we know. We bought it for $8. Goodwill.
What about you?
I definitely agree with like, the furniture. I also, though, I do like to look through the kitchenware. I don't always buy something, but I always like looking for like unique kind of glassware, or I always love like unique looking bottles. Like I have a really cool bottle that is like a diamond, basically. It's like diamond shaped and it's glass and it's got a cork for the top, and like it's just kind of unique and cool.
Oh, is it like a decanter to like...
No, it's more like, it's definitely some kind of decorative piece, or like, I mean, you could put like spices or something in it, but it's just a tall glass bottle, but it's like diamond shaped and it's cool and it's got no purpose, but I love it. So I just like anything that's kind of knick-knacky like that, if it's unique or cool. So I always am looking at the glassware. Also kind of, more of I guess it's just a girly thing, but like I do like looking through the jewelry. I don't usually buy it very often. It's pretty rare for me to actually buy it, but I love looking through it.
I feel like I don't ever see jewelry when I go to the thrift store.
Not usually at thrift stores, but rummage sales.
Oh, okay.
Lots of jewelry at rummage sales. And
I haven't gone to rummage sales in forever since like
I know,
the
because of
pandemic.
COVID. I know.
Rude.
I know. I miss it. And the rummage selling with my grandma is literally like the best thing ever. Because again, she just finds the really good deals. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, I feel like she knows what to look for though too.
Yeah, that's
like
the thing.
Like a lot of the people that I see on YouTube, they like will see something out of the corner of their eye in an antique shop and they'll be like, oh, that's this thing. Or like, I'm like, how the heck? How do you learn all this and retain it all?
I know. And the other thing is like they have especially my grandma, but they get a really good eye for value. Like I'll literally pick something up and be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is probably what, like $20? My grandma's like, that's like $2. And I'm like, oh, dang it.
But one thing that I've wanted to do from the thrift store is I've wanted to make my own candles. So like getting little like cups or little whatever little trinkets that I can put candles in, I think would be so cute so that every candle you make is something different.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I want to do that really bad.
I will say that I do try to find and look for nerdy stuff, but I feel like the majority of people just don't throw away their nerd stuff. You know, they keep it.
Yeah, the nerds are hoarders. Just
kidding. A lot of them are. So I don't usually find a lot of stuff. But again, like I do kind of slowly, I'm like working on my like D&D room that I'm envisioning someday for myself. So like if I ever find something that I feel like could look cool in there, like I'm always adding to my collection.
So listeners, if you have any tips or tricks that you've used while thrifting, you should let us know because I'm dying to know all the tips and tricks. And you can let us know on our Instagram or our Facebook or our Twitter if you really want at Love vs. Hate Podcast.
Yes. Or you could even email us ideas if you want. Or if you want to leave us a review, we would absolutely love that. And you can just talk to us.
Yeah, we just want to talk, okay?
So Emily, what is your life lesson?
My life lesson is if you've never been to the thrift store before or you haven't been in a while, I recommend just like take your time and just go through everything. Like never leave a stone unturned. Is that the saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like just look through everything. Maybe not like the clothes would take you forever, but like the outer edges of the store usually are like the fun parts, where you can look at all the like furniture, the picture frames, the vases, the kitchenware, whatever. Like that stuff is so fun to just like look through and see what other people think is junk that you can turn into treasure. Exactly.
And I also, kind of along a similar line, do recommend take a look, because a lot of thrift stores will have like a more expensive section, quote unquote, or like real antique section where it's like usually a little bit more expensive. I still recommend looking through there because that's where I found one of my favorite treasures that I ever found it at a thrift store, which was my umbrella. I remember I've shown Emily. It's like my favorite thing ever. It's got an awesome it was like a hunter's umbrella. It's like, and it's a genuine antique. It's like from the 60s, and it's just like the coolest thing ever. And it's my favorite thing. And I found it in the higher, quote unquote, higher end section. But it was only like $30 for like an actual antique umbrella. That's like my favorite thing. So I was more than willing to pay that.
Nice.
But yeah, so along that same line, make sure you always check out that section too, because sometimes there can be some pretty cool stuff there.
Yeah, and also another one bonus, check the website or like their social of like whatever store you're going to and see if they have sale days, because like for some they have like half price certain color tags. So that's just a bonus.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback off of that as well. My life lesson is just piggyback off of your friend's ideas. They're also like, whenever there's rummage sales, usually there's like neighborhood rummage sales or neighborhood garage sales. Look it up, because it is very helpful when you can go to like a specific location and just drive around that location. And usually you're going to find a lot more variety of options than if you just go a random day and you're kind of like hopping from place to place. So look for neighborhood garage sales. Guaranteed to find some kind of good stuff.
So happy thrifting, everyone.
Yeah.
Hopefully you like thrifting, or if you don't, you try it out and use some of our tips.
And if you find something awesome or nerdy or millennially, I don't know.
Just if you find anything fun, just
anything
send
cool.
it to us.
We'd love to see it.